Flyers win it in Montreal. Welcome into Postgame Live, presented by Curado Insurance. Al Morganti, Scott Hartnell, Ashlyn Sullivan here with you, and this is the response you wanted to see from the Flyers. Yes, they got some crucial overtime points over the weekend against Carolina, but a loss is still a loss, and this is how you snap a losing streak. It
is, and all of a sudden those losses look like a consecutive games that you've got points. So it really changes quickly, Scott, in this league when you have overtime points, whether it looks like a losing streak, winning streak, unbeaten streak, whatever.
Yeah, no, and points matter right now, right? You blank them in regulation, so they don't get a point. We get 2 points finally. It's been a long time since that, I guess Tuesday. But down a goal early, they give up the first goal, but the fight back, and then third period was a little bit ugly, like the guy said there, but hammered down. Vladar was unbelievable. Tocchet with another empty net goal. So a lot of things to like in this game too. Yeah, it's somewhat of a complete game. You would have liked to see the third period be a little cleaner, but normally it's coming back and the comeback kids and this fight. It was nice to have it be a different change of pace for once. Yeah, Michkov, a couple turnovers there, especially late on the power play. The one power play, didn't really like those passes. They tried to kind of force through the box, the PK's box. But, a nice play on the goal. Bobby Brink's goal, a good forecheck, a nice pass. So, guys are taking baby steps here, but Zegras, he's taking monster steps here. Yeah, he's been steady. Risto coming back, and they took advantage of a couple of mistakes, and that's what Rick Tocchet had said earlier, we thought we didn't take advantage of something that they did wrong. Well, Canadiens didn't make that many mistakes, but the Flyers took advantage. The goaltender made a big mistake, and they had a bad pinch on one play, and they ended up behind the goaltender's net back. Right, and then you got to cash on those mistakes, that is for sure, and the Flyers did just that. Now it's time for our PGL Lottery winning moment of the game. Trevor Zegras, this goal, which now with this goal extends his point streak. He now has more points this season than he did all of last season, and it's only December here with the Flyers. More goals as well, Ashlyn, too, and just like a 200-foot play, right? Good teams can get out of their zone, clean, fast, with speed, tape-to-tape passes. Watch this one, a good play here by Andre, following that one up on the tape. Here's another pass on the tape. TK slide a hard pass through there, and then the shot was nasty too. And that is beautiful. That's a long 2-on-1, so you can see that they've got that chemistry going. There was no doubt in my mind what's going on here. There you see Zegras calling for it, and then he's going to get it back and finishes off with a low shot, really smart shot by Zegras. Yeah, coming in, the goalie thinks that you're going to make a move. You don't make the move. You kind of get frozen in that kind of butterfly, and if you can beat the pass on the ice, or I guess shot on the ice through that 5-hole, it's going to be a goal every time, and Zegras is an expert on that one. Yeah, maybe we're getting a little jaded at this point to Trevor Zegras, but you're getting to the point where you expect this every night. Maybe not a goal, but at least an assist, at least a play that is going to make the post-game show. That is the streak that is worth talking about. Highlight stuff. That's what you wanted to see. We spent seasons saying, where's that skilled players? What's going on? And Zegras has come in, skilled player and finisher. And a little bite at the end of the game too, right? He took kind of a hit from behind from Josh Anderson, and then on that power play that followed a little while later, kind of got a little slash fest with Josh. So sticking up for himself as well. He got to cut, just pad the PIMs in the stats there as well. I didn't mind doing that as well when I played. So nice to see him get, not a penalty, but 4-4. Yeah, you got to love it. We talked about taking advantage of those opportunities that Montreal, frankly, handed over to you. Big mistakes here. It's our game changer, brought to you by Sloan Automotive. The goaltender, we don't know what was going on here. Maybe he thought Michkov was the defender. But the moral of the story is Bobby Brink cashes when he had to, or else he would have stayed up thinking about this. Yeah, no doubt here. And just a smart play, tip it, get it deep here. Michkov's at the bottom of your screen there, kind of sneaking through there, sneak attacking. And Jacob Fowler, a new goaltender, third game, for the Canadiens. So maybe he thought the guy was going to come, defenseman was going to come and take that puck from him. Didn't check his shoulder to see who was there. And look at Bobby Brink going far down there on that one. So that was a good play all around. Yeah, he took a little peek, and I think he thought that there was going to be a defenseman, Hudson, come flying around. No dice, because Michkov just beat him to the puck behind and sent it straight out. Yeah, you like what you see from Matvei Michkov here. We talked about it in pregame at times, just a step behind, or a second thinking about what to do, or a second holding on, or passing when you're not supposed to.
That was a quick reaction, a lot of like what we saw last season.
And he was fresh on that ice, right? The other two guys went to change when Tippett dumped it in. Coots and Tippett changed, so he was the fresh guy coming down there. It got on hump, not just kind of gliding in there to see what was going to happen. Skated hard, got that puck, got his head up, made a great pass, and Bobby Brink coming on, his line mate made a great shot.
Yeah, take that shot. If you look, when you're really struggling at all, take the shot, make it try to go through the net, and Brink just made sure no goaltender was going to come anywhere near it.
Yeah, and I really like when you look at this game, and we talked a lot over the weekend how it was a great performance against Carolina, one of the top teams in the league. You are at a position here with this game, Montreal, the same amount of points as the Flyers. There's 0 separation right now in the standings. Rick Tocchet talked about it a couple games ago, not allowing a losing streak to boil up. Because if you have a 5-6 game losing streak, you're out of the standings, and I don't know how you're going to get back in.
You are, and I don't know if that's just them growing up together here right now. A new coach, kind of having that mindset, kind of digging it into their brains. Guys, we got to, if you had a loss, you have a bad game, whatever. The next day, the next practice, you got to get on the hump again and start from scratch again. And you can see when there is a loss or a couple overtime losses, shootout losses that has been, they come here into Montreal, not an easy place to play, and play a solid, and you get the balanced scores. 3 of the 4 lines get a goal tonight. 4th line wasn't on the board. They've been on the board a lot lately, but just some good defensive play as well all around.
Yeah, and as usual in hockey, you depend on the goaltender to stop everything he should stop, and it happens again and again and again with Vladar.
Especially in that third period when Montreal was definitely pushing to get back in that game. The Flyers with a 4-1 win in Montreal tonight. Thanks, everyone. It's now time for our GMC Performance Player of the Game. Of course, it's got to go to Dan Vladar once again. 2 goals or less in 13 of his 20 stars. Again, like you talk about with Zegras, almost taking advantage of how good this guy has been consistently.
Are you getting sick and tired of talking about him, Al? How good he's been?
I won't get sick and tired of this after all we went through with goaltender issues for so many seasons to come in, and he's just been an absolute gem to come in, and both as a player and a personality in that locker room. It's just he's been a huge addition to this team.
Yeah, he's hard not to like, right? Just talking with Boosh and JJ there in the interview, it's just like his answers are genuine, right? And just like talking about a spa, guys had a spa day, and then we've got the backstory of Boosh, but he's just a really, really good human being. And then when you're making stops like that, everyone's going to like you.
Yeah, absolutely. Another great game by him. I don't know about the spa. I'm glad it was Boosh and not JJ. They would have lost by 10. So good on Vladar.
I think he's still listening.
I hope so. I hope he heard that. But Dan Vladar, it's to the point. And granted, when you deal with goaltenders, and you understand rightfully so why they got to be so focused on their performance themselves that at times it's like, all right, I only have to worry about me and my performance. And I don't know if I've ever heard a player like Vladar, a goaltender, that is so team-centric.
He is, right? And he talked about the mistakes, and then he goes, and myself too, the mistakes that he makes. So he knows what's going on. Kim Delbaugh has done a heck of a job with him kind of singling out this guy this summer. We need to get this guy, and then all the work going on this whole season, practices, the workload, games off, things like that. So he's done a heck of a job, and yeah, it's just fun to watch him because he's going to make those easy ones, and the ones that he shouldn't be making, he's making them as well. Yeah,
it's a lonely position when things are not going well. You think about it, you can call a timeout, everybody comes over to the bench, the whiteboard, how many times do we see that? Well, the goalie's like a tennis player. He's just out there. If things, it's all in here. That's the only thing going on during a game. And so you got to be pretty mentally strong, and he has been.
Yeah, sometimes, sorry, Ashley, sometimes you don't want to mess with the goalie, right? Not talk to him. But he's one of those guys that you can kind of joke around with him even during the game, and it's not going to kind of shift his focus.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. And Dan Vladar has been so consistent this season as we go back to Montreal to hear from Sean Couturier in the Flyers locker room.
It's just that way that you guys played that team defensively, especially in the first 2 periods. I mean, is that pretty much the game plan against a team like this in a building like this?
I think it's our style of play that we're buying into since the start of the year, and it's working. So we got to do it more consistently, and I thought it was a good road game. Maybe the third we can be a little better. I think not sit back as much and kind of keep being confident in our game and not let them, they're going to have pushes, but, we got to find a way to swing the momentum in our favor at times. And but overall, we did a good job.
It felt like, watching from up top that Carl Grundstrom's goal at the end of the first kind of flipped the game. They score, and then he scores right back. I guess is that how it felt, on the ice as well, that to come out of that period still tied after they scored 1 minute left, that was a huge moment.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was huge that we got, because they scored late also, so it was huge that we responded right away going into the second tied instead of down 1. So, but yeah, it was, we capitalized on our chances when we needed, and Vladdy was there to bail us when we needed him. So yeah, that's what you need from as a team.
How good was it to see Ristolainen, and just how important was it to have him back on the blue line?
Yeah, he brought some physicality that, especially in the first period, that big hit felt, made his presence felt, and it's nice to see, he played well and he jumped right back into it, playing his physical style of play, simple, and just brings a little more size to, I think, on the back end there. So it's nice to see he's doing well.
The feeling in the room going into this game? You guys obviously, it was your first 3-game losing streak of the year, but y'all got points in all those games, so it wasn't like you guys were playing bad. Like, were you guys down? Were you confident?
No, we were still confident. We played against 2 good teams, and we got a point in all those games. So could have went one more or the other in shootouts. But yeah, we stick to the way we want to play, and paid off tonight.
Here's Sean Couturier talking about it there. Big hits from Rasmus Ristolainen. It's our electrifying moment, brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers. Making his presence known, I think, is an understatement now.
Yeah, right at the beginning of the game, and this is what I really like to see. Big hit there on a really important player from Montreal right there. Take him right at the red line, knocks him off the puck, and it went on throughout the first period, throughout the game, Scott.
Yeah, look at that one too as well. Then I think it was Demidov that came over there and took a couple cross checks on him, got on the power play, nothing happened. But look at that, open ice hitting, and for Risto, it's pretty simple, right? Get the puck out, take the body, knock guys down, make them pay the price in front of the net, and for his game, it's not a Lane Hudson where he needs to go this way or that way. It's just simple, and simple works.
Yeah, a simple man on and off the ice, but they missed him.
I don't know how simple. I mean, but he doesn't get baited into anything either. I know he doesn't like to drop the gloves, but that can be a real plus when you're a physical player like that and you don't take that 2 minutes to kind of even things up there.
I don't know how the trainers get his gloves off during the periods. They're glued on there. But, a couple times when I played against him too, like he would hit my guys or I would hit him, and I'm like, oh, let's go, let's dance, right? And he would just skate away, and I'd be like, oh man, but it annoys you too,
it does.
Right? And then you go after him again, right? And he's disciplined not to take those kind of silly penalties, but nice to have him back in the lineup.
Carl Grundstrom, talking about a guy who takes advantage of opportunities, 3 goals in a week. Frankly, you didn't know a lot about this guy about a month ago. He is making his presence known, Scott. Well,
a turnover, right? From your own end, you get on the hump, and Coots makes a great pass to Tippett, a hard pass over to Grundstrom, and he offside one-timer in the back of the net. So just the defense to the offense and moving the puck quickly has been, it was kind of, 2 of the goals happened like that.
2 of the goals happen like that. Take advantage of a mistake and take advantage of your opportunity. Comes in and he's made a real impact here. They've shuffled through guys trying to move up lines or whatever, and he's gotten that opportunity and he's grabbed it.
Yeah, Rick Tocchet had been talking about early in the season waiting for someone to stick with that role, and it seems like Carl Grundstrom is their guy as we go back to Montreal to hear from Rick Tocchet speaking to the media.
Whole lot in the first 2 periods, and then the third period, they come at you, but you bend and not break. I've got to be happy with the way the team handled it from that perspective.
Yeah, it's a tough building to play. We won 2 games in here, so yeah, a lot of good efforts from individuals. Vladdy again was great. I thought Risto was really good for us. For a guy that's not played 9 months, to put that effort. Even in New Yorkie, the last 2 games for being out for 8-9 days, I give those 2 a lot of credit. They added a lot for our defense. I thought our defense played well tonight.
You shook things up with the lines, the 2 new lines in the top 9. What did you think of both of their games?
Good. I think it was a little more balanced. I saw some more juice. I thought Tip had a really good game tonight. Tip was going tonight. Obviously, Grunny. Goal, and he skates. He can skate, and I think that helps Coots out. Yeah, I thought it was a good switch for us. Yeah.
There was a game last week where Dvorak had a turnover. It led to a goal. He responded with, I think, his own goal, or set up Trevor. I can't remember. But then tonight again, a little bit of a miscue that led to the first goal, and his line again scores. It says a lot about maybe what that line's doing in terms of not, I guess, bending and breaking.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Yeah, you make a mistake and you don't have your head down. You go back, and it's happened a lot this year where we've kind of, you scratch your head. You can't. We say that you can't make that play, but they come out and they produce the next period or whatever. So, you guys have done a nice job when it comes to that.
Can you speak to how your team played a 200-foot game? You kept them to the outside. I guess that's what you preach to your guys, most likely. Yeah, I mean, we've been doing that all year. We're not a perfect team, but there's a lot of buy-in. Like I said, I thought D did a really good job of trying to keep them outside. I mean, they're a good team, right? They had some chances in the third. And there's things that we still got to learn, when teams make a press, but they're getting less and less. I thought less turnovers tonight. So things like that helped.